This is actually, I actually got this from Malapunna Springs. It sounds like this is fair income. I couldn't believe it. I said, why you got such a damn big mug, you know? He said, well, it's very handy when you go to a barbecue, you know, or the brunette races or something like that, you know, and someone wants you to offer a bit of rum. You say, I'll have a bit of rum, just a bit in the bottom, thanks. Also works as a hat or anything like that. Old Pee-wee had a pickle look from too much alcohol, but his missus kept a green stick to keep him in control. He rarely left his sunken bed in the breezeway out the back. His only job was split the wood or the missus' whip would crack. Now the woman was a mighty cook, very wide across the bum. The station kids, black and white, were allowed to call her mum. Her kitchen was a bakery for an outback appetite, for big slabs of bully beef or good old Vegemite. Some of the men were bachelors, some of the men were not. It didn't worry the station cook, she'd feed the bloody lot. Visitors from the Isa or tourists in our bus, with a huge pot of strong tea and a minimum of fuss. Now the station pet was a Brahmin bull, you could pat him on the head. He'd never seen a sail yard, he was station bred. I tried to take his picture with a stockman and a gin, but they faded into the scenery with a drought-resistant grin. To the famous brunette races they'd head off for the fun, where the beer flowed like a river, there was Coke and Bundy rum. The station boys were favourites to win the tug of war. The townies weren't prepared to risk another broken jaw. Some of the men were bachelors, some of the men were not. It didn't worry the station cook, she'd feed the bloody lot. Visitors from the Isa or tourists in our bus, with a huge pot of strong tea and a minimum of fuss. It's the last of the Outback Stations, owned by a family, hard fought by a pioneer of the Northern Territory. I hope it won't be swallowed up by a public company and fade into the heat haze of Outback history. Well, I finally did get back with Sundown Doug, and we had to land at the motel where I was staying at up the road, so we had to land there, and it wasn't much of a strip, and it was getting that late. He was living up to his reputation. We were following the headlights along the highway, and I thought, well, he's got a good reputation as a pilot, so I won't worry too much. So I just wanted to ask him a question. I tapped him on the shoulder, and he went, "Huh!" But we didn't hit a cow or a roo, that was what he was worried about. Okay, I want to take you now back to my little town that I was brought up in the Mallee in Victoria, in northwest. So originally I was a Mexican. And like all little bush towns, when you're a kid, the centre of town had to be the cafe. In fact, ours was called the Boomerang Cafe. At the Boomerang Cafe, where I first met you, with lipstick on your lips and vinegar on your chips. At the Boomerang Cafe, where I sat down beside you. You remember, my darling, you thought I was a fool as I rolled a cigarette. You thought I was too old, but I bet you don't forget the Boomerang Cafe where I first met you. Do you remember, my darling? Was it long ago, or just the other day? You played with the sugar, and I didn't know what to say. Or was it just a daydream, they'll never run again? Memories with you. At the Boomerang Cafe, all I could see was your brown eyes that would change the world for me. And the Boomerang Cafe changed the world for you. Do you remember, my darling? I recall it was raining, the heavens tore apart. Or was it just the lightning and thunder in my heart? At the Boomerang Cafe where I first met you. Do you remember, my darling? While he's coming around from the Boomerang Cafe around to the front, would you welcome on stage the Australian fiddle player, one of the best in the world, I believe. His name is Paul Pixie Jenkins. Born in Tasmania, the little devil. And Pixie's favourite song on the new album is called Special Girl. What do you want for Christmas, special girl? We can't afford a string of cultured pearls. I bet you'd like a trip around the world, special girl. Oh, darling, what would bring a twinkle to your eye? Just a hint now, watch how you reply. It's gotta be surprise, surprise, that's why. Special girl, for one of the most special in the world. Something special for a special girl. Take a partners for a foxtrot. What do you want from Santa most of all? Some flowers or a picture on the wall? A rug that goes the whole way down the hall? Special girl, oh darling, what do you want for Christmas? Give me a clue. A cattle pup or a baby kangaroo? As long as it says that I love you, special girl, for one of the most special in the world. Something special for a special girl, for one of the most special in the world. Something special for a special girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, the top man in the country on the dobro, that's Kenny Kitchie. We go a long way back to the Pixie and I go a long way back too, eh?